I live by the poem If, and there's so many lines in here that you can just sort of see in the stuff that we've done over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. So we got promoted, back-to-back promotions, but I understand that. But going before about relegation, if we got relegated, it doesn't matter as long as we know that we're moving the club on and it's progressing, because what will happen is we'll be a good League Two club and we'll get promoted again. And yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. You know what I mean? The start point of every job is the analysis. You haven't got the time, the people or the money. So the only way you survive on that is to have a ruthless focus on your priorities. My view is to try and stretch the cash resilience, as I call it, from 2 months to 12 months by doing things like creditor deferrals, what would come from the government, there are loans, etc., there were grants. If we hadn't had the furlough scheme, regrettably we probably would have done stuff with the staff in terms of redundancies. A lot of this is just common sense. I just basically sat down, took me about an hour and did this, but I used to do it for a living, so. Everybody in the leagues tend to be hand to mouth. They're putting the hand in the pocket to pay wages almost. Because the virus is on us and the crisis is here, the ones that will survive, will be being blunt about it because it's right on us now, are the ones that have the cash resources and the balance sheet resilience. It's about having enough fat on your back to ride a run of bad luck. And so if you look at what we're doing, we've been hit with a sudden cost of a new pitch. And actually on top of that, we've had the coronavirus. And can we survive? The answer is yes, it's still within our gift. But that isn't because what I did on the Monday morning after they cancelled it, was because what we've been doing over a number of years.
You don't need the league to say, right, play resumes to achieve any of this?
No. The issue of relegation or promotion, at the start of all of this, I wanted us to finish the season. All I've said in the last week is that as I look at things and analyse things, I see it more and more difficult to conceive that we can actually finish the season because of what's going on, because of the extension, because of the absolute necessity to play in front of paying gates to make the economics work, and because the economics at this point in time are basically, you know, in a pretty terrible position. So economics will overtake, if you like, sporting integrity. Clearly I'd like not to be relegated, but if we are relegated, then all the stuff that we're doing, we still do exactly the same stuff. Sometimes in life you've got to take sort of brave decisions, and it wouldn't have killed us as a club, as it were, but there was no other way to do it. It's a fortune cookie.
Chinese New Year celebration, so we have loads of fortune cookies, so they're left over, so we're just gradually eating.
Wow.
Just feeding them to the
Just
chairman.
feed it, yeah, basically.
You're not allowed to walk on it. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Well, it's a lot better than when I played on it, put it that way. That is absolutely beautiful. You can't see the soil, can you? My eldest daughter's the accountant here. It's a massive family business in that respect. Emma runs community and international, because we have an international business as well. How you doing? You can't keep away from the place, can you?
Scratching the walls down.
Hey?
Scratching the paper.
I'm just going to keep the distance.
Just come to have a look at the ground, see what it's like, if it's okay.
He's worked in the maintenance team.
You're furloughed at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
So how come you're here? Where?
I was
Why
just
you
a bit
just
bored
in
at
your-
home.
Just
So-
going to be able to see where the pitch was.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back soon. I hope so. Otherwise, I think I'll just fade away.
The guys who work at the club become part of a family, and that's one of the things that my concerns about COVID, if it continues on in through the summer, as it probably will do, you know, there will be redundancies that will have to be made at some stage for clubs to keep, you know, the fabric of the business together. But it's lads like Tony who just turned up today on the basis that he's at home and he wants to come down and see how things are, and you know, they sort of own the whole thing, and they've got a pride in what they do, which is, it's a great thing about the club. All right, you fit? How you doing, mate? You have to socially distance.
I know, yeah.
Some of our defenders have been doing that all season. Scotty Davis, goalkeeper, captain, general factotum.
I've been here 5 years now, and as I signed, the chairman hadn't long been in charge of the football club. It was a football club in a pretty dark place, to be honest. It had come off the back of a couple of relegations. The football club was socially distant from its community, and over the period I've been here, we've come together. And when you drive onto the Wirral, and you drive around the Wirral, it's Tranmere Rovers shirts you see. It's a feeling that I can't really describe, but the love that the people of the Wirral have for their football club.
Football very often times gets a bad press, but the reality is that there's a lot of good things that clubs do. Clubs like ourselves are an integral part of what I call the fabric of this country. And whilst everybody's not a football fan, you can see the damage that it does when the local professional football club fails. I went to school 10 minutes away from the club. I played for the club for 13 years. So I knew that the club was something that could operate in this way. And I always believed when I was at the FA that when I saw clubs, they would fight with their local supporters trust, they would fight with the council, etc. When you think about it, it's illogical. So part of the proposition was to try and leverage off that potential. When we came into the coronavirus, part of what we did was to just sort of change the emphasis of what we were doing in our community work into what was required now by the community.
Tranmere's always been involved for quite a long time in food banks. At the best of times, there's quite a lot of that around here, but obviously at the moment the numbers are going through the roof because a lot of people have lost what employment that they did have, or there's a lot of financial difficulties.
Yeah, I think we've delivered over 300 up to date. Quite interesting that they're going to the Tranmere Rock Ferry area, which is where the club was formed 135 years ago, and it's an area that kind of I suppose needs support at the moment.
You can't be a fair weather community club. In other words, the coronavirus comes, so we're shutting up shop and that's it.
Got 6 drivers arriving. There's another one behind you with his Tranmere shirt on.
How you doing?
You okay? I'm a season ticket holder, so I thought it'd be good to rope me son in as well. I'm off work till the 1st of June, so looking forward to helping out where I can.
We're going to a house in Tranmere, just up on the hill, not far from where the club was founded.
We just don't go out. We stay in constantly. I've been in now since January. I would like to go and see my grandkids. They're the main things. It's a bit frightening, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would say it's more frightening than anything else.
Right. Here we go.
Talks going to be set to take place on Wednesday on whether the League One season should be ended. Now,
and the clubs basically can't agree whether to end the season. You've got a relegation issue between Wimbledon and Tranmere. That's so tight. So the EFL board...
This week we are modelling again different scenarios, including the scenario that we may not play in season 2021. I have started to worry about if they don't finish the season, how do you finish it in terms of relegations and promotions? And if you look at points per game, doesn't work. It's difficult for me to talk on it because we clearly have a vested interest in not getting relegated. If you look at our results in the last 5 seasons, we've had a better second half of the season in every case. We brought in players at the start of the window, which we could. Those players were bedded in through the February, where we had a difficult fixture list. So we then came into March, and the players that we brought in were starting to have an impact. And we won the last 3 games in a row. We were the top form side. A game in hand, 3 points behind the team above us for the last relegation place, and we were due to play 4 of the teams just above us. So we had an easy fixture list, relatively, We were in massive momentum, and I've been in a dressing room, so I know what difference momentum makes. And none of that is going to be taken into account in PPG.
You might appeal it if you feel like it's not being done.
I'm not going to talk about whether I'm going to take legal action or not, but I know that other clubs are debating, well, not debating, they've taken advice.